All right, I'd like to invite you all to take a deep breath and just let's come into the present moment. Let's come into a realization of ourself as the consciousness itself. And this body and mind is like a vehicle. It's part of a greater system of intelligent life, not just on Earth, but it's on every aspect of creation. And so I like to think of the human beingness, because we know that there's a body and we know there's a mind. We know that there's some consciousness within our form, but we also know that we're a part of a greater collection of bodies or cells, just like there are different brain cells. And we're all connected through different identities, and in this case, the internet, the phone, or the computer. But more importantly, there's a spirit that's all guiding us, isn't there? And that's the main thing we want to connect with. So we can use the technology or the convenience of meeting to connect spirit to spirit, soul to soul, to recognize that there is a spirit, that you are the spirit. Because we go through our day typically identifying as a human being with all its wants, needs, desires, and fears, and the anxiety that is being created in life. And almost everybody is hypnotized to some degree. Some other influencers through social media or the news, collective consciousness, where you live or work, different things that you're absorbing from around you, like your spine's an antenna and it picks up, just like it can pick up the 5G. You've got to be careful about that. So we are awakening to a realization of who we are and why we were born. I want you to breathe in and just connect with that. Does that feel right to you? I'm putting this forth as a suggestion or a recognition that there is some intuitive guidance within you. There's some sixth sense. There's something that has brought you here to hear these words. So I invite you to breathe in and just connect with whatever you call that. Your spirit, your innate intelligence, the Holy Spirit. They're all connected. They're all part of the same thing. So we can begin by not even going anywhere, by just like how far from your house do you need to go to find your way home? You're already it. God's already here. Your mind may be drifting onto other ideas and identities and so forth, but the truth is the consciousness that brought you to hear the words I'm saying now will continue to guide you. Even when I finally shut up, there's an intuitive guidance that we're all kind of joining in. Like a part of us that knows we need to develop this inner knowing, this inner light that is our true nature, a higher being, if it were. And I know I tell this story a lot, but it was a great example of when I was studying the Kabbalah with Rabbi Philip S. Berg from the Research Center for Kabbalah, which was in West Hollywood, down on Robertson. And I took some classes. I was the first goy to take the Kabbalah in their public courses. And after I heard him speaking, I remember asking him, I said, in yoga, I've been studying yoga. I was studying with the Maharishi, and he kind of said the same thing, Rabbi, about, how humans come into this body as, he called it a spark of divinity, or, it's the spirit, that there's a living spirit that's our true nature, but there's an ignorance. So that's Malkut in the beginning. But through different lessons. In the lessons, you start with basic ones and move up to higher ones. And there are 7 levels, and there's 10 different, what they call the sephira, or illuminations, which really mean you've come to the truth about, say, power or love. A certain subject area of life that we learn about as souls here on the earth. And at the very top, so the goal, it's beyond power, it's beyond beauty, it's really beyond anything earthly. And it's represented by the fool, Keter, which means crown. And the fool, we have our own idea of what fool means in our Western culture, but through the iconography and relation that the Jewish people have, the Orthodox rabbis that transcribe these things or teach them, say that man is here to realize the true nature of himself as a spiritual being, that we're part human and part divine, and we want to evolve out of our humanness, out of our lust and greed and anger, and the attributes that we kind of innately know aren't good, right? I remember and by the way, bring your hands up if you would. Take a deep breath. Imagine we're just hanging out now. We're sitting in the hot tub or jacuzzi, or you're with me down in the Pohoiki hot tubs. And so if you didn't know, in Hawaii, there's a place where there's still hot lava tubes, and they're extending out into the ocean. And in the berms on the beach, ponds are made, and you can kind of lie back like in a jacuzzi, and this hot bubbling water will come up, and it comes up like the heat of a jacuzzi would, but it's very relaxing, very healing. It's also very ominous that there's still hot lava flowing under where we live. So take a deep breath and just feel yourself relaxing in this warm hot tub. And as you breathe out, let your shoulders drop. Let everything go. Just let go and let God. Today I want to talk to you about getting spiritually connected, because if there was like just one thing, one takeaway, one thing to remember to the end of your life, the quality of your life, the meaning, the purpose of your life really kind of boils down to whether you're connected or not. And by that, I think you all intuitively know what I mean, but it's worth expounding on, because there can be a physical sense of being connected and being grounded when you're connected. Like a good circuit, there's a good grounding. There's the yin and the yang, the positive, the negative, the red or white wire and the black wire. And so we create these circuits, which is really our existence, and even our thoughts are different sets of energy going around in certain loops to bring back a memory or to bring forth an image, either to remember something from the past. So just think about what you were doing before you got on the call. And so your mind can go to a place. It can bring back an image, a sound, an activity. And then you can also say, well, what am I going to do after class? What am I going to do before going to bed, say? Is there anything else, a routine, brushing your teeth, watching the TV? What do you do? Meditate. So take a deep breath and look into your mind and just look at what it's doing. Because part of what we're doing is developing a mindfulness where we can gain conscious control over our mind. So your mind can be an excellent servant. It's the greatest gift your spirit could ever have. But it can also be a demon. And it can be possessed. I look at the world around you and think, how can this go on? It's because these people are possessed. I think the president's possessed. And most people running the world. And you don't want to be possessed. So how do you keep from being possessed? By connecting to the light within yourself. By bearing so much light that the darkness can't reach you. Simply put, it's energy. And you already are that energy. And you are connected with the energy. The same God that breathes life into me breathes life into you and everyone else and into everything else. So I want you to breathe in. Just imagine we're in Pohoiki. We're just relaxing in the hot tub. And we're letting this energy, this life force, this Shakti. And first it's the energy of the earth. So just breathe in like a sponge. Everyone take a deep breath. And you should be sitting up straight for this meditation. And with your eyes closed, but roll your eyes up and gaze into your mind's eye, and maybe bring your hands up for a minute too. And as you breathe in, just feel your connection with the earth. There's something solid underneath you, and it's conducting a charge. There's a North Pole and a South Pole. So you connect with the earth. Now you want to connect with the air around us, the ether, the electromagnetic field, the magnetosphere. So as you inhale, feel the electrical charge being absorbed into your nostrils, the vital air, the prana, and it'll cycle down the Inda and the Pingala, the left and the right side of the spine. It joins at the base of the spine at Muladhara, forming what's known as the Kundalini. And as we breathe out, you can just imagine that energy moving up the Sushumna Nadi, which is the route of the spine. And the chakras happen to be, surprise, surprise, right where the endocrine glands are, going all the way up the spine at the top of the head and then above the head and around. So just like every energy particle has a field, and every atom has a field. It has the proton and the valence field or electron, and every molecule and every cell and every human being. You have a positive charge at the top of your head and a negative at your tailbone. Bring your hands in and just breathe in and feel the energy, both the prana, the energy of the earth and the field. And now I'm thinking of you, and I want you to see if you can dial in and feel a shift in the energy. And this is another way to get connected or deepen your connection. So it's training, right? If you go to the gym, you got to practice getting stronger. Or if we're an orchestra, we got to practice to get these high notes, to get these higher levels, harmonics. So breathe in with me, and let's join into a kind of a celestial sphere, because you're out there somewhere, right? You're not physically right next to me right now, but we're all connected right now. So I want you to focus on that connection. The first place will be in your palms. So spread your palms out like little radio antennas, and just capture the energy in the palms of your hands. Face them towards Hawaii. That might help. Now, you'll normally feel any energy, whether you're facing towards me or thinking of me or anything else, because there's a field around the earth. And that's the first thing you want to connect with. First, you want to be grounded and feel how you're really anchored to, and you got the positive charge down there. And then your hands come up. You should feel the earth's field. And now as we're sharing energy together, there should be yet another gradient or a different type of energy that you can tune into. And it's just like a radio. You just got to dial in to the vibrations. So my voice, the things I'm saying, there are other instruments such as sound that help you dial into the sensation. So move your hands from side to side, or make little circles with your palms, and just observe that an energy is charging up, like a ball of light in the palms of your hand, like a snowball. It's like a light ball. You got a big plasma field of love. And as you breathe in, just draw that light down your arms into your heart. So we're all electromagnetic beings. The Earth's electromagnetic, so is the whole cosmos. There's a unified field, as Swamiji would call it. So I want you to breathe out and expand your energy out beyond your body. So your body conducts it. But as we conduct more, the field grows. So in your mind's eye, keep your eyes closed. Roll your eyes up and gaze at the point between your eyebrows. And again, that stimulates the biofeedback mechanism that lowers your brainwave frequency and helps you dial into the living biomagnetic field of your own body. So it's like the compass pointing north. So just tune into that feeling between your eyebrows. And it naturally aligns with the electromagnetic fields of the earth, by the way, which help you connect with the spirit guiding you now. It guides you all the time. You just have to connect. And this is how you can connect. So breathe in and connect, and I'll help you. So breathe in and just draw the light down your arms again. And feel your heart expanding. For the more open you are to receive, the more you receive. And from teaching both in the West and in India, where to the students of my guru, or gurus, different ones, I noticed the biggest shift is in India, they welcome the help of the teacher and understand there's a shift of energies. In America, there's a resistance. Even the word guru makes people nauseous. or thinking there's a sense of we can do it ourselves. I know I can't do anything myself, just for the record. But I feel God's love right now, and I think, well, you know what? If I extend myself out with an intention to share the love, they'll feel it too, and they have been, and you are. So take a deep breath, and the more open you are, the more you receive. And so in India, they call this darshan, where you're simply sharing. You're really, scientifically, you're sharing the field. So you're letting other people come into your field of awareness. So there's I'll call it a love vortex. So if you move your hands from side to side, you should be able to feel your body's energy is starting to vibrate pretty good. And you might imagine that as an electromagnetic field or an aura, golden white light. You can bring your elbows down when you want. Matter of fact, you can flatten your palms and try and feel the energy between your palms by wavering your hands. Just to check in again. It's good to do this because it kind of anchors it. It's not just a thought. There's a sensation, but what the sensation is your body recognizing the field of life force and innate intelligence that is you. It's your spirit. So it's like your mind kind of goes, oh, that's my spirit. And when you drop your body, this is what remains. And so the mind is starting to make a switch, isn't it? It starts to switch from I'm my mind and its egoic sense of self and all my wants, needs, and desires and fears and all whatever happened in my life, the composite of life experience made imprints. So you created a story, good or bad, probably a bit of both, right? And hopefully it's a good story. And right now there's the most exciting part of your story is when you begin to realize the true nature of yourself. You becoming conscious of your spirit, and conscious more than just a spirit being expressed, which is cool in and of itself, and it becomes very tangible for you. It should be now. And you can bring your hands back down when you're ready. But keep your gaze between the eyebrows and keep the connection, and you'll also feel the energy in the sound of my voice. So as you gaze into the dark screen of your mind, and sometimes you'll see flashing lights and colors and this kind of a thing, and that's okay. You're going to go down into theta and maybe delta brainwaves. So this is what we want. We want to quiet the mind, for when the mind becomes still like a placid lake, it reflects back the nature of your own being. It's like without the interruption, without a screen or a fog, which is the clutter of the mind, all of a sudden you see things clearly. And this is where we are right now. Take a deep breath. So God didn't go away, just you didn't see because maybe you were thinking a bunch of stuff, and all that stuff like a dust, like kicking up dust. You couldn't see what was going on. So see all the dust, all the clutter in your head settling down and developing into a beautiful clarity. This is one old pond. The original pond we had at Pohoiki was just, it was probably at its deepest point, maybe 8 feet or 6 feet, we'll say. And it was perfectly clear. And it was just pristine. It didn't look too mucky. Sometimes pools get mucky depending on the tide and stuff. But it just looked beautiful. And I want you to create that sense in your own mind, whether you use a visualization or not. Go ahead and just gaze into your mind's eye and see yourself becoming relaxed. See yourself without all the clutter of other thoughts. So that's an easy way. It's a nice way to kind of ease into meditation, isn't it? It's like you're not doing anything. We're not trying to do something to go somewhere to try and get enlightenment. Your true self's already realized you couldn't be anything other than that which you already are. But your mind has been identified with a bunch of stuff and been all involved in the drama created by all this stuff. And right now, your spirit has reached out to your mind and said, hey, it's kind of like a parent speaking to a child. And that's what you want to do. You need to become the parent to your own brain. Can you remember that for later? Most of you have been a parent, right? So it's a good thing. You love your child. You wouldn't want your child to live in fear, or you wouldn't want it to go through things you've had to go through, right? You want that child to have the best life possible. So in the same way, we need to look at our brain with the same compassion and the same dedication. Say, honey, don't do that. Quit beating yourself up or getting caught up in this, that, and the other, or making a big deal of this. Where's the happiness? And where is the happiness? Everyone take a deep breath. Where is the happiness? Do you remember? It's a pop quiz. The happiness is right here, right now. All you have to do is remember. You have to connect. And that's what I mean by being spiritually connected. Are you living, feeling the life force energy, feeling the connection with spirit, knowing that you're walking with God, not as like this old dude with a beard that's smiting thee or shaking his head when you do something wrong, as the innate intelligence itself, something beyond, a caricature that our medieval minds may have created. There is an intelligence. We see it all around us. What created it? Well, by any other name, that which is creating it all is the creator. And the creator is God. So whether you want to think of him, I put the picture from the Sistine Chapel that Michelangelo painted, where God is coming down from the heavens, reaching out, and man is kind of like reclining back, like, yeah, okay, he couldn't even get up to greet God. He's laying back and kind of lifting his finger, but the finger isn't even fully extended. Like he's not really caring. And for me, it was beautiful because it's kind of why most people don't enlighten. It's why most people don't live in the kingdom. God's in that picture. You see God reaching his hand out, like, "Hey, come up here, come join us." And at least this is how I read it. And man is sitting there like, "Yeah, okay, that sounds cool." Like he can get with it. He's not outwardly resisting. But he doesn't seem all that excited either. He's kind of just, yeah, maybe not. Or who knows? Who knows what the character is thinking? That's probably why you painted it that way, to get us to think about it. So let's think about it. What is our relationship with our Creator? How much of our life are we dedicating to not only enlightenment, but also bringing forth the enlightenment? So I invite you to breathe in and think about that. How much of your life, and I'm not here to judge you or tell you how much it should be, but the more you're thinking about God, the more you live a spiritual life, the more you're spiritually connected, and you're just connecting all day. And that's why when we did the self-realization course, which many of you took, we had a practice in our journaling. You can do this again if you want. Keep a journal and just check with yourself throughout the day. And I was suggesting you do it every hour, but even if you were just doing it in the morning and afternoon and night, or whatever time you have, and maybe taking some time to reflect back and say, okay, well, how much of the day was I really happy and connected? And how much of the day was I not? Was I getting all upset about something, or in fear, or going through a story? Whatever it was for you. And why were you doing that? To understand that. Why do I let myself do that? And then you can think, well, what else could I do? Well, you could bring it back to here and now and let the divine guide you again. You could stay connected, in other words. So the more connected you are, the more you will be connected. Think about that. The more you connect, everyone take a deep breath. And I know it sounds silly, but gaze into your mind's eye and just think, the more I connect, and what are we talking about connecting? Connecting with yourself, first and foremost, connecting with the life force within you that is you, the spirit that you are, connecting with the present moment, and in the moment where you are, feeling the connection with the earth, feeling the vital air, feeling the presence of God within you and around you. And if you need a hug or some support, you can think of me or think of us. But just know you can connect anytime, anywhere, and you always are connected. God, it's not like God leaves. It's okay, I've had enough of you. Like he's this grumpy old man, right? He said, Steve, I'm just sick of you today. You keep messing up. So he leaves. But he doesn't. That's a story, right? There's no God that comes and goes. There's no God that's picking on you or trying, okay, screw you, I'm going to smite you. People do stupid things, there's consequences. Call it karma, call it what you will, but we live in a world where, if you think of it, humans have been warring in all the continents around the world. War after war. You look at the history of Europe, just one war after another, and now they're doing it again. All about this money, this power, this trying to control, deciding who can live, who should die, who's right, who's wrong. And they're all psychos. And this is what's happening in the world. More people are going psycho. They're doing it through what they're spraying in the air. It sounds like a conspiracy theory. They're doing it through the EMF transmissions, your cell phone, through the metal particles, especially the nanoparticles that are being absorbed through your food and through vaccinations and other sources into your body. There's an assault on human beings to suck them into the darkness, to go into a lower vibration. So people don't get fearful about it. In a way, it's helpful because it's going to force you, we hope, to stay conscious, to not allow their darkness, to not fall victim to their patterns, their conditioning, their vision, the way they say things are or have to be, to step out of it, become less dependent on them, and get back with God, get back with yourself, get back with the land, get back with sane people. This is an insane world, you guys. You got to stay sane. That's what's so good about our call, I think, is we can bring to light and talk about things that most people are either ignoring, don't know, or have, reaction to. So most of the world is kind of psycho themselves, aren't they? So let's take a deep breath and connect. Feel the life force in you. Feel it in your nervous system. Feel it in your chi. Feel it in the electromagnetic fields all around your body. Just connect. And the more you connect, the easier it gets to connect. It's like yoga. The more you practice it, now all the poses get easier to practice once you've been doing it a while. And as you connect with your spirit, you'll get more connected with your spirit. And the more you connect, the more connected you will be, and the more connected you are. And by connected, we mean connected with your own life force energy, connected with your own spirit and innate intelligence, and connecting with the innate intelligence guiding you. Because we're all a part of a greater interconnected wholeness of being. Call it the Holy Spirit, call it innate intelligence. But realize that there's a system guiding us. And most people's ill health and disruptive state of minds are because they've gotten disconnected. They've gotten so disconnected they don't have any guidance anymore. They're lost and they're easily taken over. So take a deep breath and connect with the life force within you that is you. Connect with the light that you are. Feel the light around your body like an auric field, maybe 3 feet around your body. Just picture a luminosity around your body, and you have it. I remember even in the 70s when I started college, we did these tests with Kirlian photography, and they could see I'd go into meditation and they'd see this shift in the energy field, and they knew. They'd tested enough people already that they knew, they even knew the meditation. They said they could see different types helping in different ways. So see yourself glowing and feel the life force energy within you that is you. Just identify as the spirit that you are. And this is what I mean by being spiritually connected. Your mind is present to the spirit that you are, and from this place as spirit, you begin to let spirit speak through you instead of the old programming, say. Instead of the old fear, the old having to be right, or having to this, or whatever, whatever the baggage was. You sit back and you can decide, does this serve me now or does it not? You just simply look and see what works. What's the higher vibration? I like to say, what would Jesus do? Or what would Swamiji do? Since I knew Swamiji and I'd see him in such a way, I had the great fortune to sit at the feet of these masters as they were asking questions of other people. I helped interpret what they were asking and explain it sometimes for both Shiva, the Maharishi, and the Maharaj. And I learned a lot. And the main thing I learned, you guys, is they would always try and steer the student to looking within for the answers they seek. Like, the true guru is not going to sit there and go, okay, this is what you got to do. Drop the guy with the brown hair and get the blonde, or, become an astrophysicist like your dad told you to, or whatever the thing was they thought the guru was going to tell them. The guru wasn't there to tell them the answer. He might explain a natural process or a typical stumbling block and how to get over it, that kind of thing. But they're not there like I don't tell people who they should marry or divorce, or if they need health advice, I might render a suggestion. But I bet all you could bet what that is. But the point isn't me or some other, quote, guru or some other person telling you. I think we have the same problem sometimes with doctors, as if they have the answers. They don't. I think very few doctors really know what they're doing, to tell you the truth. So let's take a deep breath. And the main thing is being conscious. We take accountability. We become our own doctor. We become our own therapist. We become our own parent to this body-mind vehicle, because our consciousness already knows. And you know that, don't you? So take a deep breath. Feel the energy in your nervous system. Feel it in your chi. Feel it in the electromagnetic fields around your body. Feel it flowing between you and me. So we look at that right now. We can create any state we want. So I want you to take a deep breath and go into that goodness. And look at how much from a distance above, as if you're in a Zeppelin or a blimp, an airship, looking down, or a spaceship, looking down at the human population, the absurdity. From up there you can see the absurdity, the divine play, as it's been called. In India we would call it the Maya, because it's the illusion. And if you think about all the things that people are chasing after, their power, their gold, their control, their depravities, whatever they are, they're all fleeting, temporal, and they're not ultimately real. All they did is distract them from the truth and the light and the way. And so there's this kind of dichotomy. You can have this 200-foot long yacht, and I guess all the babes or cocaine or any other kind of things that people like to do. But in the end, it's really a sign of their misery that they need all that. For me, just sitting on the beach and hearing the sound of the waves is magical. To sit now and look at the way that the clouds are passing by and the little white caps over the ocean, and the thought of being able to connect with you guys, or no matter where you happen to be, what a beautiful feeling that is. So I want you to breathe in and feel that. Let's bring our hands up again and see if we can take it up another notch. So let's come back to some of the principles. There's a mass hypnosis. There's a radical. I've heard these radical declines. By the way, our birth rate is now averaging around 0.5%. It's never been that low. It can't sustain itself. Our population will disappear in a couple of generations. Maybe not a couple, a few. I forget what they tell you. It depends on how far. But it's extremely unusual. There's been like several 100% increase in miscarriages and stillbirths and people having trouble with having children. There's a problem with people wanting to have children. You kind of don't blame them in a way. So I want you to bring into this world the light. I want you to see yourself not in a negative position and not having to defend yourself. Just being the light that you are. Take a deep breath and feel that light coming into you. So the light's coming into me, into you, and now we're sharing it all together. And the more we share it, the more of a synergy there is, the more of a flow. I call it the love vortex. So just breathe in and let the energy in. You should be feeling something, right? And then absorb it and feel your heart opening. And just imagine the light around you as you breathe out. Now just feel it's spreading out. So it's maybe 4 feet or 5 feet or even 6 feet around you or more. Again, breathing in, and we just intend open. So you see your mind moves over to, okay, I've been feeling or have felt, or there's some energy, right? So once your mind kind of attunes, okay, now I'm tuning in not to just a bunch of thinking. It's not just a bunch of neurons from what happened earlier or later or something happened. Now you're here. You're in the present moment. You're feeling the presence in this moment. So that's what being spiritually connected means. So breathe in with me and be spiritually connected in this moment. And there's a deepening in that feeling as you keep going into the feeling. And you see, when you come back here, that hypnosis has no power over you. So as you breathe out, feel that energy going out, not just 6 feet, but 7, 8, 9. Feel it bouncing off the ceiling, the walls, and your entire room or sphere is filled with light. The energy, your energy and your awareness is expanding out to the premises, but you can drop your elbows a little if you need, but keep the palms out and take a deep breath and just feel yourself opening up for even more. More, please. There's a gluttony for love, divine love, and it just gets better. That's the good news, you guys. So breathe in and feel your heart opening, expanding like a balloon. And as you breathe out, expand that light out throughout the whole residence, the building you're in, the yard. The whole place around you is protected and guided by the divine, and all the people protected and guided by the divine. In all your activities, day and night. In fact, in all places you go, take a deep breath and just open your heart a little bit more. And you can bring your hands back down. Keep connected. Stay gazing into your mind's eye and just expand your awareness out through the neighborhood and out through the city, even the county, and bring your awareness up above it like an airplane flying above, and you can just see all the streets where the park is or the different natural features. And now you're getting higher and higher. If there's any mountains or beaches or other forestry, noteworthy buildings, arenas, high skyscrapers, and so forth. And now even higher, going up maybe to the height of a commercial airliner, like 30, 40,000 feet. So now you see whole regions that you'd be flying over the Grand Canyon or Hawaii and seeing from way up there. Just see yourself way up there. And just feel the earth. Go so high, you're out at the edge. It's like when you get to the edge, when you get to the place where the satellites start flying by, just see yourself expanding farther and farther and farther. And you can feel the pull and the energy of the moon, how there's some kind of connection between the earth and the moon. And you're just in sync with it. And that with the earth and the sun, Mercury and Venus, and maybe Mars too. So take a deep breath and just expand your awareness to where all those planets are. So your awareness is not limited to your physical body or mind. Just expand your awareness out beyond Mars. There's an asteroid belt, and then it's going to take you to that big, giant Jupiter. And it's cool. The floating giant, a gaseous ball, spinning in a few orbits, and farther beyond it is Saturn, right? And its beautiful rings, and then Jupiter and Neptune. And I'm going to keep Pluto in the loop. And there's more asteroids out in that direction. And there's other planets, the Chiron, the different orbits, different trajectories. Expand your awareness beyond the solar system. Just feel it as a network. It has its own solar center and then smaller parts orbiting around it, right? There's a system of organizing intelligence because we see it happening with other stars, other planets, other moons, other orbiting. They're all orbiting. Every energy particle is spinning. And every atom is spinning. It's moving. Its probability amplitude is in flux. And every molecule has an energy around it spinning. It's positive and negatives forming a pattern, a rhythm, a pulse. And then they form, creating greater systems, like amino acids, and then forming branch protein chains, forming different nails or hair and different parts. They're all systems, interconnected with other systems, all part of a greater interconnected system of organizing intelligence, creating, well, in fact, the very rudiments of intelligence come from those systems, the collective rudiments. So we see this now with the AI. But just remember, AI is only some other people projecting their awareness into the system. And they're not stable people. They're not good people. Their intentions are not pure. So part of it is not letting the system get into your head, not being dependent on any AI, learning to think for yourself, to step back, and not trusting anything coming out of a digital device, period. So in your own mind, just see how you, as you become deeper, more aware, sense of expansion perhaps comes, and a sense of peace. That's the cool part. You can kind of look at the world and you kind of see it as the show for what it is. It's all programming anyway. Liking or disliking this president or prime minister or another war, they're all just players in a greater show, and they're laughing at us for not knowing what they're doing. So we've awakened from that now. We're beginning to see that, and they're all just stuck in a negative program themselves. They're trying to impose their programming on us, but they are the ones that are programmed. You're still free. If you're listening to me, you're still free. So take a deep breath and think about that. Think about the difference between what being free is and what being caught in a program. And that's what they're looking to do, put us in a mental, like a cage, like Klaus Schwab himself, the former head of the World Economic Forum, member for the One World Government. And he was saying, the one that wants us to eat bugs, he said, you'll have nothing and you'll be happy. He said, the people won't have to work because of the robots. Like, I could care less about a robot helping me. You know, I don't need it clanking around, really. Maybe it's good in the factory. That's for the owner. But I'd just as soon talk to the person that's making my food if I choose to go out. And I'd rather interact with a real person wherever I go. So maybe that's better for the rich people, but not for me, not for us. Not the data centers, not all the electricity with the new cell towers going up. They're upping the ampage. It's all for control. So those that don't see it, those that are sheep, those that are still asleep, you guys, are going to be the ones affected by the weapons that they're using. The weapons that they're spraying in the air, the weapons that are in the towers that are installing, the weapons that come through the phones that we're kind of forced to carry for some time anyway. But now if we see the effects, that's why for me, teaching, the best way to teach is to try and be the best example. And I'm not perfect. But I think if there's something they get away from, what is it? First thing was the city. I want to get away from all the electronic towers. The more people, the more difficult it'll be to survive in a real difficult situation. And I think we're coming into a difficult situation, a test for everybody. So living afar and living off-grid, there's already been some on our island. There's been many hurricanes and things that have caused the power to go out. But for me, I've got my own power source. Of course, that one can go out too. Cell tower or a cell panel, I should say, can go out, or the control box and so forth. And so you have backup. You have generators, and now hydrogen. It's actually helped. So by living off grid and living with the earth, connecting with what do you need to create a soil? I live in a unique place. It helped me see the greater interconnected wholeness of life with God into such a simple thing as the soil. What elements are in the soil? Volcanic soil happens to be good soil, but it needs more than that. It needs bacterium. It needs fungus. It needs microorganisms to create a living soil. It's explained a lot in the field of, well, anyway, it's a fun subject to get into. But then the insects, the worms, and the worm castings, and that, it all creates this cycle of life that creates a thriving. And the big corporations have gotten us into this monoculture of GMO crops that don't have the nutrients, aren't helping us, and now they've all been infected with their chemicals. Glyphosate is almost everywhere. They're spraying it heedlessly. It's just going to kill most of the soil and living things. You can't eat the food in the supermarkets, guys. And that all sounds crazy until you realize what's really happening. And you get with the program and get with making the change in the world. Don't just be allowing yourself to become the victim. In other words, take a proactive stance in what you eat and what you say and what you believe, the endless nonsense on the television and social media. But so we see a world that is hypnotized. And I think one of the things that will be helpful for you is to look at people that can't think straight. I was telling you, a guy I bought fish from, a guy I loved, I used to try and talk to him and encourage him and keep him going because he was having a hard time and he got caught up in drugs. He's killed 4 people just in the last few days. So he's in a hell. He was in heaven. I remember when his first child was born, and I knew his wife, and the most beautiful child I think I'd ever seen, and everything was good, but something got in and shifted his consciousness. And there's some evil presence that's trying to get in everyone's head right now. So I don't mind if people laugh at me. I understand it sounds eccentric or kind of crazy. But the more you look, the more you'll find. And the 2 things you want to look for, the first one is God. To recognize, hey, despite whatever horrible things are out there happening amongst horrible people, and by the way, weren't the Romans like that? And the other civilizations before them and after them, and whether it was the East or the West, whether it was in villages, you look at the Aztecs, the Mayas, the Incas, even the Native Americans, all groups, all over the world, fighting and killing. But there seems to be an awareness, and this is where I'm going with this, that we finally want to get out of it. It's forcing us. If you care enough, it causes you to start taking actions that make a difference, to share the truth, to tell other people, to get them thinking. And I know they may laugh. I get laughed at all the times. I'd say half the comments I got from my energy device, my hydrogen generator, were negative or put downs, or people just making, but they don't know. I'm just telling people what my experiences are. Look, this is working for me. I'm getting willpower out of it. I got to replace a wire because after an hour or so, the wire was getting hot. There's just one area that needs a stronger wire. But it works. And now I'm going to do it with my truck. So the point being is that there's a better way. The corporations have controlled what we're eating and how we eat. Now they're destroying some of the distribution lines. Now they're threatening higher prices of oil. Well, no surprise. Look at all the oil refineries that kind of mysteriously blew up. Even Gavin Newsom closed 3 of the biggest oil refineries. Well, of course, gas prices are going to go up. You just radically restricted the supply of oil. And they're doing it all over the Straits of Hormuz. All this is orchestrated, you guys. The reason I'm telling you is so you don't just let things flow by. I remember traveling with I guess, well, he was a hunter, but he was also somewhat of a medicine man in Borneo. And I was with Jim, and we had paid a boatman and our guide some extra money and said, look, can you take us we want to go to a place where they've never seen white men before. I want to go to a place that's really remote. And, we bought a lot of gasoline for them. So they were happy that they made good money. And we went up, we spent hours and hours and hours. Anyway, I finally got to meet up with the chief, but my guide couldn't even speak because he was a Dyak. He couldn't speak the language of this particular tribe. He's never met anybody. I think the boatman that took us up knew somebody from that tribe. So he was at least acquainted with some of the members of them, but he didn't really know them himself. So we were all newcomers, and they were very nice to us. They allowed us to spend the night, and feed us even. And we gave them some gasoline and some other things that we knew that they needed that would help them. So they were very happy. And they were headhunters, so it's always a good idea. You're nice to people. I remember there being a basket of skulls, humans, hanging from the door. And I slept under it, matter of fact, because it was in an open area where there was lots of breeze. But in real briefly, you can stand a little fun part. We'd been in this canoe for so many hours, we were kind of stiff, and we didn't know what to say. They live in what's called a longhouse, and there's a section of the longhouse that's just a big room where pretty much the whole visit can crowd into. And we were up in one area near where the chief was, and we were stiff, so we started stretching, doing yoga. And the others in the group, and of course the kids sat up front, and they'd look, and then they'd try and do it. And it was funny because they'd put their feet behind their head, and all of a sudden everybody was laughing, and it was a good icebreaker for us to all have fun, just being silly. And the parents could get involved too. So everybody was laughing and smiling. And that's a universal language. So we broke the language barrier. And then finally I thought, well, I'm getting kind of tired, and I was feeling all this energy, so I just wanted to meditate. So I just breathed in. Everyone kind of felt it. I kind of set myself up, and you can join me right now. And Jim and I sat in, and I just chanted Om. So there'd be a big and then another breath. And the other kids at first, and then later the rest of the group started to join. And so we went out with this oming it was probably only 5 minutes. But everybody started oming together. And I don't think they'd ever heard, matter of fact, we asked them later, they'd never heard the sound before. But as you know, it has a tonal quality that raises your energy and helps you relax. And so, although we couldn't communicate in words a lot of what we were thinking or wanted to say, everybody felt it by just connecting. And that's how I want to connect with you right now. I want you to just connect spirit to spirit and soul to soul. So how funny it is that we'd be connecting all through chanting Om in the middle of the Borneo jungles. Just us, the orangutans. Found out there's also crocodiles and poisonous snakes. But that's another story for another time. Everyone take a deep breath. So the reason I brought up the hunters and the connection with the earth and how living off grid and connecting with the earth and people and animals and how everything flows together, all you got to do is tune in. It's like this is so many. And then I was amazed at like the different things you can take to get better if you're ailing. And my mind is blown. Like, why doesn't the world know this? And I found out, well, a lot of the world did know these things, and it got suppressed so they could sell medicine, make giant amounts of money. And the more I learned of these things, I said, this could change the world. The whole world could change. Just understanding the medicinal qualities of plants. Sometimes things we pick up don't even think about. So breathe in and just feel like there is an awakening occurring within you. And your own mind is beginning to realize who you innately are as the spirit that you are. And that your brain's okay. We don't have to get down on the brain or have to beat it into submission or have an argument with it, because your brain wants to have fun as much as you do. The idea of fun comes from your brain, after all. Your spirit's just fine the way it is. So sit back as we're meditating together now and just gaze into the dark screen of your mind for a minute and just observe quiet and silence. Observe the void. Nothing has to happen. And make nothing of anything that does happen. Just like clouds floating overhead, just sit back and observe nothing. If a thought comes, just let it go. Now observe the part of you that's observing your thinking. Who's thinking thoughts? Observe sound. There's sound hitting your eardrum. Boom, boom. You recognize the sounds. You recognize my voice. You recognize the words. You've heard these words before. You can put them together and understand the thought. So observe your brain thinking, reflecting on what I'm saying. And observe that there is an activity in your brain, which is in fact invoking neurons to fire off energy. So right now there's energy moving through fields of neurons in your brain, assimilating these words and their meaning, and coming up with constructs, which are almost like holograms, different components, different boundaries, different parameters. Each word, each idea is being thought and brought together, creating a greater connection, a matrix, which we call understanding. So observe your brain understanding what I'm saying. And maybe it understands 100%, maybe just 90 or 70 or whatever. It doesn't matter. Just observe. Ask yourself, do I really understand that there's something other than my mind observing the thoughts being projected in my mind? So thoughts are projected, that's okay. But now your own mind is aware that there's something other than your mind projecting thoughts, which is your mind. So your mind is the activity of the neurons, creating thoughts, ideas, feelings. So different chemicals get created, dopamine, serotonin, peptides, hormones. Any different thoughts will invoke different feelings. But there's something other than the thoughts and the feelings that is observing the thoughts and feelings. So I invite you to observe that. Observe that part of you that can observe your thoughts and feelings. Observe. the observer observing. So this is bringing you back into the kingdom. Stepping back from the mind. It's the mind that obfuscates reality. But when you enter into the kingdom, the mind will come with you. And it can delight in the presence of God in everyone, in your own thoughts, words, actions, in your activities, in your behaviors, with each step you take and every breath, the beating of your heart, with the regeneration of all the little cells in your body, with all the plants, all the insects, all the animals, your neighbors, your community, the world you live in. Everyone take a deep breath and just picture a whole world. Let's picture a world where everybody discovered this, that realized this, that realized God. And what would that be? That would be creating heaven on earth, wouldn't it? So, my favorite line was from the Gospel of Thomas, where the apostles keep asking, because here's the critical thing, all of Christianity and Judaism for that matter, or in Islam. So in the West, there's this focus on entering the kingdom. And people kind of jump to a conclusion like it's beyond the clouds, or it's beyond Sirius, or the Big Bang, or, maybe it's an astral world, and of course hell is in the middle of the earth. And, there's all these imaginary places. So that Jesus explains it so lucidly. It's the key to the kingdom. And he says the apostles ask him, Lord, when will the kingdom come? Because he's referred to it as coming, like it's imminent, or it's here. He's here, so it's here. You can find it through me, is what he's trying to say. So hear my word. My word, if you hear my word, then you will understand. You will come to realize the truth. You'll realize what the kingdom is. You'll realize it's within you. So in the Gospel of Thomas, they ask Jesus, when will the kingdom come? And he replies to them. He says, it will not come by waiting for it. I'm emphasizing waiting, but he says, it will not come, the kingdom of heaven will not come by waiting for it. And he further explains it. You cannot say that it's over here or it's over there. And then it becomes clearer with the next sentence. He says, for the kingdom of the Father, which is the kingdom of God, the kingdom of the Father is spread out before man. So it's already here. It's already now. It's here and now. The kingdom of the Father is spread out before man. It will not come by waiting for it. You don't come by waiting for one day. Oh, the kingdom's here today. You come by realizing that it's here right now, wherever you happen to be. Matter of fact, it's not a matter of you can't say that it's here or there. It makes it very clear. It's not a matter of where you put your physical body. It's not a matter of what time. It's the time you realize that it's spread out before you. So those that have eyes, let them see. And I'll leave it on that. By the way, I reopened a station on YouTube. So if you want to watch either my movie Enlightenment Now, and listen to Sri Sri Ravi Shankar and Satguru Yogi Vasudeva and a different Tantra guru, one of the leaders of the Tatris lineage, the Maharishi, and also Jagadish, who attended Shivambala Yogi Maharaj, my other guru, when I did tapas with. So these are the leading gurus in India, and we've got it all in one movie. So just go to, if you're on YouTube, just go at Enlightenment Broadcasting. If you just dial Enlightenment Broadcasting without at, you'll go to an older site that might be interesting, but it won't give you what I'm suggesting. So make sure you type in at Enlightenment Broadcasting, one word, in the YouTube screen if you want to watch. There's also 12 episodes of the self-realization course. So I want to invite you to go through that. It'd be a good review for all of you who had taken it before, and it would be a great introduction for those of you that hadn't, and it's free. I mean, any donations are always helpful or appreciated. And then I also uploaded a 6-minute overview of the connection between COVID and the hoax that it was, and the facts. Everything was a slideshow. Here's actually from the medical record. Here's what the Center for Disease Control says. Here's what the patent, who owns the patent. So it goes into COVID, it goes into 5G, the assembling nanoparticles that can interact with the 5G, all the stuff that sounds great, the transmissions of EMF, the chemtrails, all of it. I try to put it all together, and to what end, what they're doing. So it's some of the most powerful information you could learn. I hope you take the time. It's only 6 minutes. And then you can stop it. I didn't narrate this version of it because I wanted you to be able to stop and read it for yourself. Here's what the CDC said. Here are the lies. Here are the people that were creating it and directing it. Here's what they gained from it. It's all right there for you to absorb. And this is a part of your awakening. This is where we need to bring the light. We need to bring to bear. We need to help others to see what is creating darkness in the world. And when the light is shone on that, it will dispel the darkness. You are the light. You are the truth. You are love divine. This body's but a dream of thine. May the whole world live in peace.